Why do people feel like it's their duty to police the world? Nosy Butt had no reason to go around and say anything. Not a single thing. But it just makes me wonder, why are we so quick to judge? So I'm out here in my yard surveying what's left of my garden. It looks like the army worms have only left me the Meyer lemons and the peppers. They really had a party here. What I really want to talk about today is I actually ran across a meme, and it's called the doors of life. And it's basically 5 doors. The first door is the door to criticize, and the line is really, really long. And then it gets down to the door to help, and there's only one person in that line. And it made me reflect on a couple of times in my life. The first moment was just recently, like within the last week. I was at the grocery store, Whole Foods actually, and you know how Whole Foods has the hot bar, and they always have a section outdoor for people to go sit and eat. And well, there was a group of ladies sitting out there eating their Whole Foods lunch, and it's actually, the section is right next to the handicap parking. And an old lady pulled up and parked, and one of the women in the group felt it was her right or her duty to walk over to that woman and say, you can't park here. This is for handicapped people. And there is clearly a handicap placard in the lady's car. And she goes, no, I'm allowed to park here. And she goes, no, you don't look like there's anything wrong with you. Like, really? You're a doctor now. Or even if you are a doctor, you just saw someone for 2 seconds and you summed up that there's nothing wrong with them. So anyway, the lady goes to walk away, and the young woman decides to flag down parking lot security. And he walks over to the woman who parked. They have a conversation. He walks back and goes, nothing to see here. She's fine to park. And this woman actually was very, very hot when she walked back to her friends, and they looked so embarrassed. Why do people feel like it's their duty to police the world? And then back in 2003, it actually happened directly to me. It was a time when flu shots were in short supply, and my mother needed a flu shot, and I figured out where I could get her one. And the day that we got there, it was so hot. I mean, like super, super hot. I told my mom and my sister, just hang out here in the car. I'll be the one to go stand in line. I was standing in line, and this woman who was about maybe 5 or 6 people ahead of me, she felt it was her duty to not say it to my face, but say it just like this. She looked at me, and then she turned back around and she went as loud as she could, what is she doing here? Like, isn't this for old people? And I'm like, what the heck? I don't say anything because I wasn't raised that way. Because it was so hot, one of the store employees came out and he was handing out water. And she stopped him and said something to him, and his response was, I'm sure she knows the rules. When she gets up to the front, I'm sure they will tell her she can't get one. But she wouldn't leave it alone. She just kept making comments and making statements about why I was there. So we finally get up to being a little bit closer to the line, and my mother comes to join me, and she gives me this big hug, and she says, oh baby, thank you so much for standing in this line. I don't think I could have handled it. Everybody within like 5 or 10 people up and back just started laughing, because they were like, oh my gosh, this woman has been witching for about an hour over something that she shouldn't have been witching about. And now here's the truth comes out. This nice young lady was standing in line to help her mother, not to try to bogart the system or try to, you know, jump the line and get a shot that she's not supposed to get. So, and the funny part was that there was a man who actually laughed, and he was standing right there to go, see, maybe if you hadn't been so mean to her, maybe she would have volunteered to hold your place in line too. But it just makes me wonder, why are we so quick to judge? And I know exactly why. It's because it's easy. It's an easy coward's way out to sit there in judgment and criticize other people over a situation you know nothing about. And you know what? You can't control, and it's really none of your business what happens. If that woman had parked in that handicapped spot without a placard, parking patrol is there all the time. They would have caught her. They would have given her a ticket. Nosy Butt had no reason to go around and say anything. Not a single thing. It was none of her business. And so today, while I'm reflecting on this meme, I'm also reflecting on the words of Tabitha Brown. And basically is, have a nice day. But if you can't, don't you dare go around messing up somebody else's. And that's what we need in this world. We need people to go out and try to have a nice day. And we don't need people jumping around trying to ruin other people's days. Because the truth is, we don't always know what someone else is going through. Not all handicaps or pains are visible. Some of them are deep down inside. They're things that we will never know about. And you know what? Honestly, it's not our business. But what would have happened if instead of that person walking up and criticizing and trying to judge, what if she offered to help? She could have made that old lady's day. She might have been a woman who's living by herself, no kids, no family, no friends around. And maybe when she goes grocery shopping, maybe it's going to be a little bit hard to get the food into the car. A better gesture would have been said, can I help you load your car? Instead of, here, let me try to get you arrested. But I get it. I mean, I see it all the time. I'm here on YouTube. I've seen it on my friends' social media pages. It is really, really easy to criticize. It is really easy to bring out that keyboard courage and try to hurt people you've never met, just for the sake of, if I'm miserable, why not make everybody else miserable? So seeing that meme today, it just really brought home that the line to criticize and the line to gossip, they're so long because that's the freaking easy way out. It is much harder to show empathy and compassion and love to your fellow man. It's so much easier to hate and walk away. And I've seen a couple of videos as well here on YouTube, and I actually took offense to one of the persons that said, screw you Gen Xers, you're too nice, you're too soft. I'm sorry, that's freaking how I was raised. And unless somebody does something to me personally, why the heck should I be walking through life being all angry? I was raised to help my neighbor. I was raised to, if you don't have something nice to say, you don't say anything at all. You don't just walk around town just trying to be the bully, just trying to make everybody as miserable as you. And you know what? I don't even believe all these people are miserable. I just think they like making other people miserable. So the next time you find yourself standing in judgment of someone or feel the urge to criticize them, take a deep breath. Whether you're online or in person, take a deep breath and really think about what you're going to say and how it might impact someone. Because you don't know what the other person is going through. You don't know if your words of anger will push them over the edge, but you also don't know if your words of kindness and love might keep them from going over the edge. So why not lead in love first? Because even though it takes a lot more energy to walk through the doors of getting involved, encouraging people, and lending a helping hand, it is the better door to choose, because you just might make someone's day. If you made it this far with me, thank you so much for watching. If you've ever found yourselves being judged or actually judging someone else, let me know how it felt to be on the receiving end. And honestly, I really want to know, if you're the giver, how did you really feel after you did it? Drop it in the comments below. And like Tabitha Brown says, have a good day. But if you can't, don't you dare go around messing up somebody else's. And I'll see you in the next video. Planes flying overhead, and now I know why people don't like to record outside.